Welcome to episode 2 of Going Offsides, presented by the Lacrosse Collective. Today, Ryan Kuhn sits down with Coach Derry Thornton to discuss Brevard College, diversity in the game of lacrosse, and where do we go from here. Before we get any further, I'd like to take a second to talk about our sponsor, Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's completely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, which is what we do every day. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
All right. Well, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to a great friend of mine, current head coach at the Brevard College, former head coach at Lees McRae College, started the program at Mount St. Mary's in New York, fellow New Yorker, although he is from upstate New York, one of my great friends, great coach, someone who I am absolutely thrilled to see back as a head coach. Mr. Derry Thornton. Derry, welcome to the podcast, and we are so thrilled to have you on board.
All right, great. Great for being being here. Thanks for having us. I do realize you have to say all those nice things to me because I still haven't beaten you yet. Heads up, but we won't go there. We won't go there and everything like that. It's all good, man. I appreciate it, and everything like that.
Before we get going, I will, and we get into the nitty gritty of what we're doing. Quick little story. When I got the head coaching job at Lincoln Memorial University, the first phone call and the first email I got was from Derry himself. Obviously he wanted to get a game in and all that other stuff, but it was just, it was nice. He was just welcoming me to the South and seeing if there was anything he could do to help. And it really meant a lot to me. And I mean, 6 degrees of separation and everything like that. We've known each other for a really long time. And we were brought together, specifically by, my head coach in college. One of his former counterparts up north was Dan Mulholland, who's now an assistant at Pace University. And it's kind of funny how small the world is. And you fast forward a bunch of years later, and there we were coaching against each other and at different schools. And I mean, here we are 5 years later, and we're still close friends. And before we even get going, man, it's just so awesome to see you back in the South, back in an area that you're familiar with. And I'm so thrilled to see what you're going to do at Brevard. I know it's a beautiful place, a beautiful school, and there's a lot of good things going on there. So kind of before we start touching on some other things, tell us a little bit more about what brought you to Brevard, what you think of the school, what you think of the future, and some other neat things that are going on down there.
Well, for me, it's coaching at my previous institution, playing Brevard, going out there, Coach Anderson, is absolutely phenomenal. Just being able to play against Brevard when they were Division II, and just I always say I look like my father and I act like my mother. My mother's a big five person, and just the vibe and the energy is something I never forget. Win, lose, or draw when we were out there, it was just everyone was so endearing and friendly, and you're asking for directions to a pizza place, and they're very, very specific. And it's just I'm from right outside Albany, New York. I'm in a city born and raised, 100,000 people in this city, and I never, if you would have told me 10, 15 years ago I would end up in a nice rural mountainous area, I would have thought you were crazy. But it's hard to explain how great Brevard, the city itself, the campus, and everything around is just phenomenal. I'm honored and blessed to be a part of what we're building on the field and off the field. And also, Miranda Nash, our director of athletics, she's phenomenal. Her vision in regards to what we're doing with facilities on campus, obviously expanding our field house. The staff we have is absolutely incredible. Obviously a great athletic director, and is just one of the best I've ever been around. And she's doing a great job, and her communication is absolutely phenomenal. I can't speak enough about her and our whole staff there. And, it just, what attracted me to the job was just the fact that, it opened up, and I just, getting back into coaching, missing, me going through withdrawal, just talking lacrosse every week, and just, looking for the right opportunity, not just any opportunity, just, the right opportunity that'd be a good fit. And I always say, it's not about the next, 10 days, 10 weeks, 10 months. You got to look at the next 10 years, next decade, and just build something and go. And there's so much potential with the location of Brevard and having, actual airport right there if you want to recruit outside the state, which we'll get into later. But, I absolutely enjoyed it. And I like I said, I was truly honored and blessed and happy to be here, more than happy to be here in regards.
That's amazing, and I know you're hitting the ground running, and you brought up a huge topic. I mean, I think it's the lifeblood of what we do. Recruiting. So, as a coach, as a college coach, as someone who has played the game and someone who's been around the game his entire life, what is it that you're looking for in a potential recruit, and what are some of the things that stand out to you? And when we always talk about those things, and it's kind of generic things too that most people talk about, especially when they're being interviewed about it. Obviously we have those two things, but more importantly, what are some deal breakers for you? What are some things that you see from a recruit, whether it be social media, whether they're on the phone with you, whether they're on campus and they're actually visiting with you? What are some of the things that they're just non-negotiables for you?
Well, with kids nowadays, communication is huge for me. Absolutely huge. I want to talk to you. I understand parents want to get in on the conversation and certain aspects. I want to talk specifically to you. Social media, it's not going anywhere. It's going to expand and grow anytime like the times and everything like that. So that's not going to change. But for kids, it's one of those things where, there's a difference between making I would say a college mistake and a lifelong mistake. And in college, in college, you have college mistakes where you go to the wrong social gathering or you miss class. That's a college mistake. A lifelong mistake, red flag is domestic abuse, violence, just being unruly and just getting arrested, doing certain things that, are going to be with you for life. You want to be able to learn and grow from the stuff that you have going on and the mistakes you make. And red flags for me is just going through kids' social media and just, when you ask a kid about something or a player about something and they deny it, everyone's quick to retweet or press send or like certain things without, reading stuff in depth. And they're young and they're going to make mistakes, but, you have to own up to mistakes and all the stuff you're doing in regard. I actually had a recruit. I was recruiting a kid. He's a really, really good kid. Really, really good player. Don't want to say his name in regards, but we're on the phone. We're having a great time and everything like that. And the kid's literally getting high while he's talking to me on the phone. And I'm not making this up. I called him out about it. I asked him. We'll call him George. I said, George, you good? He goes, yeah. It's like, you're not smoking, are you? He goes, what? What do you mean? It's like, I'm not stupid. I've been around the block and all this stuff. And for you to make that a priority instead of taking 10 to 15 minutes just to chat with me about it, just, that was an immediate red flag. Stop recruiting in regards. I told him if if he needs help going anywhere else, we'll be able to do that. But just going through, you go through accounts, see who kids are following, what they're liking, what they're retweeting, Instagram, some of the photos they're taking and everything. And once again, I'm a forgiving person. We're a forgiving society. Sometimes you just got to own stuff and, don't just tell me, show me what you're going to improve in regards to that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like you got to recruit. You just got to continually recruit. People don't understand. We say it all the time. It's more than 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no real off season, unless even when you're at the highest level, you're still getting calls about kids and everything. So it's a constant process, and we're still wading through a bunch of things. And, it's just one-on-one conversations, return phone calls. I send you an email, you don't respond, that's fine. I call you, you don't answer, but then, you'll text. There's just certain little things. There's just little things matter to me in regards. But for the most part, we've gotten pretty good feedback from kids, and that are interested in the program moving forward for this fall, and of course, fall of 2021 and 2022.
Well, I mean, we are in a unique time. Everything with COVID, it's definitely thrown a wrench into everything and kind of forced us all to be creative recruiters. But it's just kind of going back to a couple of things that you said. I mean, it is pretty interesting, and it's kind of shocking. Just what some people will put on their social media and think that nobody's gonna look at it, nobody's gonna see it. It's just it kind of goes back to it. I mean, and obviously with some of the stuff that we're dealing with right now from a diversity and a racial standpoint, just some of the things that people will retweet, whether it be song lyrics and that sort of thing. I mean, even though they're song lyrics, they do contain language that should not be repeated, and it's insane that people don't think, and especially recruitable student athletes don't think that that's going to come back and be an issue at some point, especially if they do have teammates of a different color.
Absolutely, I will, and it's interesting that you say that because as some we go out to these recruiting events, or we'll go to a high school game and all these things, see all these kids. Recently I was coaching at a recruiting event, and it's just my theory is each one teach one, and I don't have to necessarily bestow my values and what I think on you, but if I feel like something's offensive, then I'm going to step up to say something. There was a gentleman on the team, younger kids and everything like that, who should have known better. But he says every time something would go wrong, he would say, that's gay, or that's effing gay, and this, that, and the third. And I turned to this individual. I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "So why does everything out of your mouth you have to come with saying that something is gay in regards?" I said, "You should be able to articulate yourself better. But if you have an issue, just say, do you have an issue with, we talked about, gay, lesbian community and certain things." He goes, No, coach." I said, "Well, it's kind of lazy for you to say that." And I said, as someone who knows someone who played in college, who was a gay athlete, who had to go through hell and high water just to play, that person finally came out, and it's just like, you don't understand, like, you saying that just has negative connotation and denotation to the stuff you're saying. And he apologized. I said, at the end of the day, I'm just letting you know, like, how someone else could interpret what you're saying. You're young, I get it. But one thing I've learned is you're always on an interview. You never know who's listening and who's watching, and that could be the difference between you signing and going high level Division II, lower level Division I, or being a walk on at another institution. And because word travels fast, and I said, I'm not going to judge you on it. Just my philosophy is love, live, learn, and grow. Love your life, because some people got it better than you. Some people have it worse than you. Live your life each day, learn. And then, like, it's one of those things where you learn something small, something big. Each of us leaves a thumbprint on each other's lives, no matter how big or small, that we may think about it, and then grow from what you learn. And then, like, that's literally my philosophy I've been trying to, take with myself day by day. And it's the same thing with kids. So with everything going on in the world, it's which I'm sure we can get into. It's a lot of I cannot tell you the amount of feedback that I've gotten, texting, calling, emails, in regards to people asking questions. And I'd be remiss, if being a black coach in Division III at Brevard College, we had a coaches of color Zoom meeting. We've had a couple of them, where Spencer Williams, who's the head coach at Division II Embry-Riddle in Florida, he's done a great job getting us together. It's myself, him, Roger Colbert at University District UDC at D2. Rashad DeVoe just took the head coaching job at Amherst Division III. We got Brandon Soul down at LaGrange in Georgia. Rich Carrington, Division II, he's at Tusculum College. We got David Oliver at Coker College, Division II. Sean Blair out Division II, and Colorado State Pueblo. Yep, he's rocking it. Oliver's obviously Coker in South Carolina. Vince Culpepper, who's at Cairn College.
That's a new program.
Cairn University. I think it's Cairn University. My apologies.
Yeah.
He was great. he's absolutely phenomenal. Dwayne Stewart, great. Dwayne. He's
my guy.
Yeah, him being on the call was awesome. He's at New Paltz in New York. Brian Jenkins, who's he's the OG of everything. He's at
Yep.
Hiram in Ohio. Division III, and of course we got good old Mr. St. Laurent up at Ohio Northern. Who's also coaching.
I'm not too
NCAA.
far away from him right now. I'm about 45 minutes away from him. He's doing big things over there, and it's just not to cut you off, but I mean,
No, you're good.
it's a sense of pride for me, to see someone. I mean, he was a former assistant coach, but he's like a brother to me. We both grew up in the same town, played for the same coach as Dwayne Stewart. And as much as it's so phenomenal to see him doing so well at New Paltz, and to know kind of his background and where he came from, and I think it kind of goes back to your environment. I mean, Dwayne had such a great high school coach, my high school coach, and then to move on and go play for Coach Marr at Albany, who I think, obviously, people talk about his involvement with the Native Americans and the indigenous people. He's been such a tremendous person to kind of speak out for equality for all and everything like that. And Dwayne's had such a unique perspective on things, and I mean, everybody has, but it's just, I mean, from a personal standpoint, to see him doing so well, and to see him kind of what he's building up there, it's awesome. And I think it's so wonderful to see everybody coming together. I mean, and speak to more to kind of a group that you guys are involved with. I mean, what does it mean to you? I mean, and now we can kind of dive into some of that other stuff. What does it mean to you being a man of color, being a head coach in a game that for a really long time it's been a predominantly white sport. I mean, I know obviously the diversity has improved over the years, but it's nowhere where it needs to be. But I mean, in terms of everything, I mean, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to the group? And I mean, what are some of the cool things that you guys are doing? And maybe we can touch on some of that.
With us, it's it's personal for me because in certain aspects, when I was in high school, I just learned about lacrosse when I got to high school. A couple of friends of mine, one on the basketball team, one on the football team, put me on to playing lacrosse. But it was just, my mother refused to come see any games because she said she wasn't coming to support me playing a quote unquote white boy sport, which I didn't get, I didn't understand. And for me to evolve to go, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't stay involved in lacrosse. If I was a big Division I athlete, going to go play Division I football, and I would probably be a number instead of a name where I'm at right now. And with us, meeting and Coach Williams just putting this together, and just having us come together in regards, we have so many different people that are just have so many different views and reflections of what it's like. But you got to remember, we don't have, Coach Zoll's not in Division I anymore. Coach as the head coach, we have no Division I black head coaches at all in regards. And there's only a select few of us on this call that are in Division II and Division III. Now, I understand, it's not football or basketball where it's 70 to 75% black or minorities in that aspect, but still at the end of the day, as someone who, when I grew up, I got introduced to lacrosse through my two high school buddies and, Coach Tierney, and watching Scott Boccialupo play when I was and that's how I got introduced. But, I remember, Coach Colbert, playing at Georgetown. I remember Bobby Horsey playing at, Loyola. I remember Damian Davis at Princeton. These are guys just it was crazy seeing guys that looked just like me, playing the game. And it's evolved so much over the time, and everything. And it's, there's so many of us involved more and more in the sport, but still at the end of the day, for us to get certain jobs as coaches, it's what kind of jobs are we really, really getting in regards. And that's no knock, actually maybe knock to the system, because most of the time the people that are hiring they hire people that look like them or that they know. And a lot of times we are getting jobs that, you're either starting a program or it's a reclamation project in certain aspects. And, one of the great things, I love, I talked about, Miranda Nash, just like, just having one-on-one conversations with her about the future and the vision of not only lacrosse, but of the campus itself. Is just like very, very inclusive in regards to what we were doing. And I felt really, really comfortable. It was like I wasn't another, for lack of a better term, a token interview, which all of us, I'm pretty, that are on, our Black coaches have been on token interviews and everything.
Yep.
So, but it's for us, it's kind of surreal putting this all together and just like being able to chat and go over certain things and talk about just coaching in life. One of the, you aside, because I still haven't beaten you, but one of my greatest games, I ever coached. I felt like I ever coached. We lost when I was at my previous institution. We lost to Coach Oliver and Coker. We lost, I think it was 1917, and it was just. And someone asked me what happened in that game. I said we couldn't win the face-off. I got out coached. I said, but I felt like I coached as good to great as I could, but I still could have done more. And it didn't dawn on me that, oh my goodness gracious, Coach Karen and I have coached against each other as well, us both being Black and everything. But it's just like, wow, for me to say like one of the greatest games I coached, even though I lost, was to, another, coach of color. It was just surreal to me in regards, just like for us both to put forth that effort. It was just, and we've talked about so many things, but progress is good. Progress is good, but it's just like, where do we go from here in regards to certain things? As I started off saying, there's so many of my white colleagues not really knowing what to say or do, and they ask me, and I say, don't talk about it, be about it.
Exactly.
You look at some of the Division one ranks with Coach Tiffany, at Virginia, and Coach Tillman at Maryland. They're not just talking about it; they're being about it. Having reflective and doing certain things. It's not all about liking a tweet. It's not all about retweeting something. It's just like, what are you going to do to educate in certain aspects? And I just ask, just educate yourselves in regard to certain things, and just ask hard questions. Be uncomfortable. Don't say stuff like, there's no, we're not a racist country. We had a Black president for 2 semesters or 2 periods in office. And I had a coach say that to me, and everything. And I was kind of blown away in regard to the head coach. A guy absolutely I love to death and everything like that. But
I think that shows just kind of the naive nature of people, and as much as I hate to say it, the ignorance. I think it's somebody a long time ago once told me it's not what you teach, it's what you tolerate. And I think that that's not necessarily true. It is what you teach, but more importantly, it is what you tolerate. And it's just like some of those things, like for me, and this is something that we always did, and it's something that I continue to do now with whatever team that we're involved with. Like, you can't say that you're diverse, you can't say that you're inclusive, but yet you've got a group of people that in the locker room prior to their game, they're putting music on that is basically saying the most derogatory term that could ever be said towards a person of color, and think that that's okay. And it's not okay. It's not okay. I think that it goes back to kind of, don't just say it. Be about it. It's we've got a long way to go. And I think it starts with the individuals, and obviously, like you said, educating. But it's more so people have to pay attention to what's going on around them and not be afraid to shake up the status quo, because I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't know if you can agree with this, the status quo isn't okay. There has to be systemic change from the top down.
Well, it starts with the top down. It's not just there's a difference between myself or Coach DeVoe at Amherst saying something. We need more colleagues in our conference to speak up, more respective coaches to say this isn't right, because a lot of times, a number of times, I should say a lot of times, a number of times I've been told it seems like it's the squeaky wheel getting the grease, and we're just saying stuff just to say stuff, and that's not true. I've left the job due to some of the racial stuff that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Professionally, it was great. Personally, it wasn't. And it's a decision like I've made in my life. In regards to certain things, and everything, and as you grow and learn and go through certain things, you don't sit there and tell people, well, I'm 21, I left a job for this, or I'm 31, I left a job for this. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where you learn from it and everything like that. And like for me, I will tell you this, like it's funny because, certain coaches, you take pride in the way you coach, but like sometimes it's just one of those things where, you want to just be given the opportunity and I don't want to say the same level playing field, but that's just, how we are as coaches, especially as black coaches, when we have so many things like that are against us. But, at the end of the day, I always told myself, whether, at previous institutions, you're going to get two things from my team. You're going to get great pregame warm up music, and you're going to get a fight out of us, and we're not going to quit. And everything, and those two things, we're just gonna go. Like when you come, especially playing, at our place, that was one of the things where we're gonna bring it every day, and it's just I can tell you this, me as a black head coach, the way I was viewed, and it wasn't even yelling at a kid, it was just talking to a kid, and some instances yelling. It's like whoa, the perception is black coach yelling at white kid. We can't have that. You need to change how you coach. But I'm thinking, well, ex Division I coach or ex Division II coach, same exact thing, more boisterous, gets a penalty, but I'm the one that has to change. So, but it's we try not to take it personally, and we go out and we do what we can do. But when it comes to getting certain jobs, it's just like they look at the resume and say, oh, these are the wins you had. They didn't delve deeper into the fact that you had to build this program, you had to do X, Y, Z, or ABC. And at the end of the day, a lot of jobs, like you said, a job is posted and it's already filled before, any of us can get an application in, or for lack of a better term, a real look at that job. And there's kind of like a glass ceiling of the jobs you can and cannot apply to. So, but I am very grateful for this opportunity at Brevard College and everything, and we're definitely going to make the most of it in regards.
So, well, I've got two more questions. The last question is going to be a fun one, but
oh gosh,
the second to last one, where do we go from here? What I know you said it, we got to be about it and we have to do it through action. What are some things that the game needs? I mean, it's a medicine game. It's supposed to bring people together and be somewhat of a healing game. What
I will say, have diverse committees. Not only when you look at certain campuses, and Coach Jenkins made a great point. Hiram, it's just like, do you have a diversity committee? Do you have a minority, whether it's a female or a person of color on that committee, at your own school, and spinning it forward to Lacrosse is, when we're going back to our original roots and everything like that, the Native American, I've learned like one of the best college coaching experience I had, was at Mohawk Valley Community College, where a bunch of Native Americans from Akwesasne, they came down and they played hockey, because hockey was still a junior college sport at the time, and lacrosse, and they were kids and everything, but just learning so much about, like, I knew lacrosse, but I didn't know about culture and everything, and just to be able to learn from kids that they're young, they're 10 years younger than me, wherever it was, 8 years, whatever it was, just to be able to learn from these kids and everything like that. Go back to why the game was created and educate yourself not only on the plight of the Native American, but also as the plight of being a black person on and off the field. And I just, there's so many which ways to get pulled. And, me, I'm big into sports, and, I watch TV every now and then, a lot of talking heads and gas bags. So I try and stay off it, when it's like just cycling certain things, but I saw a quote that Maria Taylor, she's on ESPN. She does a lot of great work with college football and everything. And she said, like, I'm tired. I'm just tired of everything. And once like George Floyd passed away and he took his last breath, she said that was it for her. And it's one of those things where it's just, people keep asking what we can do, and it's just like I'm tired. I'm sick of. I've said for like a decade, almost 14, 15 years, like I've tried to explain certain things in regards to certain aspects, and it's like you have to educate yourselves as well and go through history and understand the what the what this country is all about, and just there are good people, there are bad people, there are good cops, there are bad, so on and so forth. But just understand and listen, and just say, okay, instead of just I had a talk with a coach the other day, and every time he asked me something, and I volunteered information, he goes, "Well, yeah, but you don't understand. Like, this is what and I'm trying to explain." I said, "No, but this isn't about you. I'm just trying to give you a view of someone that you just don't know."
I think that's the problem right there. How many yeah buts? How many yeah buts? I think we need to. I think we as a society, we need to get past that yeah but. Like, there are no yeah buts when it comes to this stuff. A person is a person, regardless of their background and the color of their skin. I remember when I was in high school, I had the great opportunity to play for a guy by the name of Al Ray, who was one of the first Division I All-American, first team All-Americans as a person of color at Rutgers University. He was a two-sport athlete, and just kind of talking about that subject and him saying, like, you guys have no idea what it was like. You have no idea what it was like. And we as a society really need to get past that. And it's like the yeah, but needs to stop. Like that needs to go away. I think if we start there, then we can make some real progress.
I will tell you this, and it's not, I don't want to get off topic here, but one of my mentors, God rest his soul, Bill Bajornis, who was great, absolutely great, coached at Hartwick when I played at Oneonta. And I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity where I'm at today, or be where I'm at today, if it wasn't for him, because I remember specifically working in a cubicle, making a ton of money, just miserable. And I just remember it's like I miss lacrosse. I miss like the camaraderie. It just, when we talk about race, and me going to Oneonta was the greatest thing, because we had a great mix of guys from whether it was Johnson City, New York, or Long Island, New York. And it was just I missed that. So when I actually called him, back in the day, he used to make phone calls, not text, but I called him.
Those days. Those days are long gone.
If I asked him, like, "Are you looking for an assistant coach?" And he goes, "Yeah, he was looking for an assistant coach." And he's like, he said, "Yeah, definitely interested." I said, and I was dumb enough to ask him, "Do you know who I am?" And he says, "Of course I know who you are." He goes, "You're a goalie, you're black, but most importantly, you play for Suco." "No, I'm not offering you a job." I said, "What?" And he just started laughing. He goes, "No, I'm not kidding." So he was kidding. So I went by his office like later in the week, and we chatted it up. So me being black presented the opportunity to actually stand out in regards to getting a job opportunity and getting a chance. So he's the one who gave me like my first shot, and everything. And, Coach B knows everyone, and he that's just how it is and everything. And, I don't think if I was actually, even if I played the position goal, if I wasn't black, then he might not remember who I was in regards. And I just know, like, the opportunity, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Would be remiss without mentioning him. But that being said, the platform that we have now, it's, you can't be scared to speak up now in regard if certain things are going wrong and not, whether you're an assistant coach and you're feeling some type of way about certain things, or you can't be scared to like a tweet or retweet something that has social conscience to it. And you have to have support in regards to that. And it goes back to what you said, like, not only our colleagues, but, your athletic directors, your presidents, your business ops people. Like, there's so many people in regards to this. And You know, it's one of those things where you have to literally just not only just go through the history of our country, as bad as reprehensible as it is, but it's one of those things. It's just read their books. I can also recommend and everything. Just go back and read, but just be a better person in regards to certain things, and so.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's a unique time right now. I think obviously with everything going on, it's just something that I think we're kind of at a point too, and I think this generation is a great generation in the sense that they're not afraid to voice their opinion when it comes to things like this, and I hope they can take it and run with it. And I mean, thankfully, with people like yourself and those other coaches you mentioned, I have no doubt that there's going to be real change. It's just some of those things, it starts from, people doing self-reflection and them doing that self-reflection and having it move forward to the next person. And like you said, it goes back to educating your student athletes and making not just the game, but the world a more inclusive place. And we have to get past that stuff. I mean, people are people. It doesn't matter, whether you're from Mars or you're from Earth. People are people, man. We got to do our due diligence and do what it takes. I mean, it doesn't matter what color you are or where you're from. A good person is a good person, and a bad person is a bad person. There's a lot of bad people out there who, are different colors. It's crazy. It's just, it's something.
I would say that. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's one of those things where it's just I try not to be cynical in every aspect of my life, but COVID-19, this pandemic is crazy, and it's something like we've never seen before, ever. Like in my lifetime, like you remember growing up, and everything like that, where you read stuff about stuff in the history books, blah blah blah, and your parents like, I went through this, and you just didn't quite comprehend, and now, going through certain things, whether it was 9/11 and now this stuff is going to be in history books. If it wasn't, part of me feels like, because I had another coach ask me, why do you think things are different now? I said, well, because we actually have to sit down and, depending on where you're at, you're on lockdown, you're not able to get out, and you have to talk about certain issues and things with COVID-19. You're not going with your everyday lives, but what happens if you get to what's going to happen? My question is, what's going to happen when we get to a normal, or
exactly,
when we're trying to come close to normal? Whether you're going and you're watching sports, or you're going to your 9 to 5 each day and something like that, are you going to care as much? Are your voices going to be as loud? And don't talk about it, be about it. Don't tell me. Show me.
Right. Exactly right.
And when we talk about education, there's so many people where it's just like, when we're not talking about people that just understand, the plight and everything, and systemic racism and so much. We're talking about other people who just, where you say a statement like white lives matter or all lives matter. No, we understand, but you're missing the point. You're not understanding what's coming on. And, when you talk about racism, we're all on equal. No, we're not all on the equal playing field in regards to certain things. But like at the end of the day, it just comes down to, me growing up, a little different than, some of, of our listeners maybe, but I just remember, I grew up single parent household. My mother worked her butt off, 2 jobs, to actually get me out the ghetto, get us out the ghetto. I thought she hated me and didn't want me to be around my friends, but it's one of the best things she's ever done in regards. And, she had like a rule: you work or you go to school and everything. And she worked so hard and everything like that. And every Sunday we would have like Sunday dinner where we would just sit down and we would just talk about life. My thing is spending that for just have talks inside your household with your family. That's where it starts and everything. I'm not telling you to go and watch every pro-black movie or read every pro-black book you can, but just understand, and just like, it's not only like a problem with us and everything. It's just like in our society, I being black, but I look at certain things like women, minority women, especially with women and LGBT community. There's so many things that we can just like, we can we can help each other out and educate each other about. And it's, at the end of the day, we're all in this together. Somehow, some way, we're all in this together. We have to figure it out.
Exactly right. Man, it's you hit the nail right on the head, man. A lot of awesome stuff, and my last question to you, and we're gonna kind of shift gears a little bit. I want to make it a little fun.
All right.
I mean, we talked about some serious stuff, but
this isn't going to be about this zone ride that I couldn't break while you're at
No. There's not too many people who can break that ride. Just ask Mount Sinai in the county championship last year. How are you? Okay, you're walking out to the game. You've got one song to pick for your warm up. What's it going to be?
Wow, is it clean or is it edited?
Well, I mean, it's got to be edited. It's got to be.
I know.
Edited. It can be any song. It can be any song you want.
Wow. See now, going back, there are certain Division II coaches that know. All right, so this is kind of funny to say that. My first year, I decided it was voted on that every one of our kids would get to put on a song that they would like on our warm up CD. And now, granted, all these songs in their genre, great. I love Metallica. We had Backstreet Boys. I think we had Celine Dion. But it was just like one of those things where it's just like it just didn't fit. So my second year, I said, all right, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get kind of take it personally, and I'm taking over the warm-up CD. And I put on every single song. It was always classic. It was always classic hip-hop. Like mostly 90s hip-hop and everything.
Okay.
Can I give you two?
Yeah, you give me two.
All right. Machine Gun Funk by Biggie and George B.I.G.
Okay.
And Twins Deep Cover 98. Fat Joe and Big Pun.
Love it. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
But you can never reduce me to just one.
No, you can't. You can get two. I knew you were going to give me two, so I just had to say one. If I said give me two, you'll get four. I know you all too well.
Wow. And my players are in charge of the warm-up CD this year. I talked to one of my seniors. He's excited. He really is. I'm like, don't make me nervous.
Don't make me regret my decision, right?
I mean, I'm gonna edit it, of course, make sure it's clean. But like, if he wants to put music on, it's fine. But at the end of the day, we just need, once again, like coaching wise, we're excited down at Brevard. Going from Division II to Division III, great facilities expanding, new field house, football coming to campus, phenomenal. Like the new locker rooms that are going up and everything, just recruiting. It's crazy to think like recruiting North Carolina, South Carolina. Some kids haven't even heard of the school, but they're excited. You get accepted, you get half tuition off if you live in North Carolina, South Carolina. So, we're doing some things, and then with the coaches of color, it's phenomenal, and you're going to see different things coming from us. There's a podcast today, going with the IMCLA. Yep. Coach St. Lawrence, he's
leading the charge on that.
What's up?
He's leading the charge on that today.
Oh, absolutely. Like he has so much on his plate in regards to just like meetings and whether it's IMCLA or the coaching in the PLL, and to get to the level he's at and be successful at his, they have a great Division III program up and coming. They're on the cusp of just blowing the lid off the place and everything. And he's doing that today. Kyle Harrison's going to be there in regards, Miles Jones, and of course it's one of those things I'd be a little remiss without saying. Jules is going to be there. If there's a piece that he had that was pulled out and on Inside Lacrosse and everything like that, which was it's a great read. I would love to recommend it to everyone. It's an absolute great read and everything like that, and it's just it covers so many bases. I wouldn't even do it justice going over everything in regards, but I just think it's absolutely phenomenal, and everything like that. Just it's at 4:00 today, so if you get a chance, check it out and everything like that. So, but yeah, just it's exciting time for us and everything like that.
Well, hey man, I'm thrilled for you. You're right where you need to be. I think you're going to do wonderful things at Brevard. I know it's a great administration. One of my good friends is the soccer coach over there, so I know you're going to do wonderful things, and you're going to have that program humming soon, and that conference as a whole is getting stronger. And I know before long you're going to be holding the trophy at the end of the year, and you're going to be a highly sought after candidate. I mean, your resume itself speaks for itself. So I'm thrilled for you. I'm proud to call you my friend, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time and coming on and speaking with us. And for those of you who don't know, go to Brevard College and check it out. It's a great program down in Asheville, North Carolina. Beautiful area, lots of good stuff there. Tourist trap, and going to be a lacrosse hotbed before you know it. So, Coach Thornton, thank you so much, man. We wish you nothing but the best, and can't wait to see how everything goes this season for you guys.
All right, brother. Be safe. Thanks for having us. If you need anything, always reach out, and be safe, sir.
All right, man. Same to you. I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's it for another episode of Going Offsides, presented by the Lacrosse Collective. Please follow us at Lax Collective on Twitter, or go to our website, thelacrossecollective.com. Stay tuned for more episodes.